Quartararo. First time in 9 long months, can't believe I say that. He was always the qualifying king of both the GP, wasn't he, the Frenchman? But he is going to start from pole position in this 20-lap Grand Prix. The number 20 flags waving proud in the Mandalika grandstands.
Just listen to the roar. This is what the crowd have been waiting for a good couple of hours now since the Moto2 race came to a conclusion with spots of red in the air. They've seen plenty of rainfall since then. The green flag waves and Johan Zarco leads the field out for an exciting lap. They'll do one lap to the grid, and then at 15 minutes past the hour, the Indonesian Grand Prix will be underway. World champion Fabio Quartararo starts from pole position. Just how much has his wet weather riding come on since last season? Of course, it was his difficulties in the wet conditions and mixed conditions that saw him start the Grand Prix that eventually concluded with him as world champion back at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, like 15th on the grid. Can he put those problems behind him and give his world championship defence the kickstart that he needs?
This is a massive step into the unknown for these MotoGP riders. They've done barely a handful of laps. Certainly, the track wasn't as wet as this on Saturday morning. So this really is stepping into the unknown territory. Who's going to quickly master the conditions? Who's going to take the big risks? Jack Miller, well, you know that he's so good in the wet conditions. He's proven to be strong on the Ducati and the Honda in the past. Of course, it was mixed conditions. He took that famous win at the Dutch TT in Assen back in 2016. Who else has got really strong wet weather prowess in this field? Ricky Morbidelli's actually a bad wet weather rider. Other guys with nothing to lose, really. Andrea Dovizioso, particularly on a factory Ducati, where you can always put your money on him to be a big threat in these rain conditions. I've got to say, the way that Fabio Quartararo has thrown that Yamaha around that second sector, there's been a lot of feedback from the World Superbike riders here, and the Moto3 riders who had a couple of wet sessions, that the grip levels here in the rain at this Mandalika circuit are very good. Very good indeed. So you can see the guys are just trying to understand where the patches of water are, where the water's patched at its worst, and then also just work out the grip levels. Pecco Bagnaia, also relatively inexperienced in terms of wet weather riding in MotoGP as well.
Alex Rins is a rider I perhaps point to as well, who might have half a chance in these conditions. He starts in the middle of the third row in 8th place. Pit lane closes in 4 minutes' time, which is why you're seeing riders come back down pit lane. They do have time to do this. This isn't like the quick restart procedure where you have 60 seconds to get out there before the pit lane closes again. So, understandably, some of the smart cookies on this grid, the two Pramac riders, the two Suzuka riders, taking the opportunity to do an extra lap of the track before they pull up on the grid, just to get a little bit more information, just to see where some of the damper patches are, where some of the group levels are. KTM, of course, they'll fancy their chances this afternoon. Brad Binder, last time we saw conditions like this, was winning a race on slicks. Of course, he won't be running them today. Miguel Oliveira, also looking good. He starts 7th on the grid. Their team boss, Francesco Guidotti, is speaking now with Simon.
Francesco, we now step into the unknown. I'd love to know how your riders go into this race, how they've been feeling in the box, and we do know how in the unknown Brad often pulls out something special. What are your thoughts?
Difficult to have an opinion, difficult to predict something. We never raced here before, and the conditions are completely different than the test and the practice for the weekend. So, yeah, let's start and we'll see. But the guys are in a good mood. All of them usually perform well in the wet conditions. So, yeah, fingers crossed and let's go.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks to Francesco Guidotti. Great start, as Lewis said, for the KTM team in Doha. Brad Binder, it's a 3rd podium finish in the Premier class. What if he's going to attempt to go out slick tyres? Joking, of course. That was, of course, his brilliant victory at the Red Bull Ring in the Austrian Grand Prix last year. So finally, we are getting the grid forming here at the Pertamina Mandalika circuit in Indonesia. Await their man, Jorge Martin and Johan Zarco, both going from the front row of the grid. Brad Binder There's going to be some nerve jangling now because, as we mentioned, we can't overemphasize this is a complete blank canvas, a complete journey to the unknown for these guys. They've never raced before here. They've certainly got very little experience of weather conditions. In some respects, it might be a bit of a lottery, but it's certainly going to provide some nail-biting entertainment. We hope you have stuck with us over the last hour and a half or so when our coverage for MotoGP started. I'm sure you have. Why would you go anywhere? It's the greatest motorsport show on earth as we look at Anaya Bastianini starting from the middle of that second row. Binder and Bastianini, Lewis, in the dry, you really fancy them to be strong.
Tapi ini kalau Pak Dia cantik kali ini, data Indonesia kayak sepi ya.
Quickly top down to the grid again. Pierre Calamasso and Michelin, they've been thrown in a 11th hour curve, haven't they, by these tricky conditions?
Guantararo, Martin, Zarco, Binder, Bastianini.
For you to make the weekend even tougher, can you tell us what
Yang
the
juara
riders will go for?
Yeah, in this condition, the choice is medium front and medium rear. This is the one because the temperature is still quite high, is around 25 and 26 degrees. And also because here the point is the overheating on the right side. And with the soft compound, the problem that you might overheat too much. With the medium, will be much more stable. So this is the best choice for this condition.
Thank you,
You're welcome. Thanks to Pierre Calamasso. We're just running through this revised grid now, of course. Revised, sadly, because 8-time world champion Marc Marquez has been ruled out of this delayed Indonesian Grand Prix. The president Joko Widodo, who is finally, after all of his effort and all the effort of the authorities here in Indonesia, it looks like, thankfully, we are going to get MotoGP action here in Indonesia for the first time since 1997.
Well, the Shaman certainly did the trick in the end. We got the race we were hoping for.
Yeah, whatever that lady's name was, get her inducted for MotoGP Hall of Fame very, very quickly because, yes, it does look like the rain banisher or whatever she was called by the locals. She normally goes
she'll be getting a position at the FIM, I think. She'll be taken to every Grand Prix over the course of the year now to try and ward off any potential wet races or cancellations. So we're about to get underway then for this Indonesian Grand Prix, and Anaya Bastianini goes into it as the championship leader. Let's get a word from the scene with Simon.
Yeah, that was a key championship leader. That's what I've come to see. Michele, he's done so well, Anaya, for the first race, all the way through this event, put himself in a good position on the grid, looked good in FP4. Now, completely different conditions. How does he feel about the wet?
Yeah, now it's difficult to predict how does it go the race because still a lot of water on track. There is a big patch in some corner, but for sure this is the same condition for everybody, and we don't make any practice on this condition. So we will see. We start from the second row. This is good enough, but we have to learn lap by lap what we can do.
How does Anaya feel about rain condition riding?
Not so bad. Not so bad. We have to improve in this point, but we have a good base on the rain.
Thank you and best of luck.
Thank you to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Michele Massini from the Gresini Ducati team. Can they continue their stellar start for 2022? Alex Rins, not quite sure that it's sunglasses weather right now for the Suzuki man, but I guess just trying to keep himself focused, trying to hide some of the nerves that will inevitably be hitting these riders. This is nerve-wracking stuff. This is tense. This is where these guys are really, their skills are put to the limit, their concentration, their focus, because they're just about to encounter a racetrack in conditions that they've never experienced before. It's a bit of a level playing field, this, isn't it? It's going to be a case of fortune favouring the brave. Jack Miller, normally he revels in these kind of conditions. Even Thriller Miller looks a little bit pensive as we count down towards race time here in Mandalika. It's
6 minutes to go then. Speaking, of course, earlier on, we were discussing the potential strategies that might be deployed in a dry weather race, and the big talking point, I suppose, was Fabio Quartararo's determination, I think, to get to the front of the race and get a clear track. And the Ducati's looking to stop him doing so. In many ways, even though it's a wet race, that is still the aim for Fabio Quartararo, more because of the visibility here rather than any kind of issues with overheating front tyres. We're still expecting to see a little bit of spray, more than a little bit of spray. There will still be some standing water in patches of this racetrack. I've already heard from Piero Taramasso that there are still some patches as the virtual fan wall. Get ready to see this historic first Indonesian Grand Prix in 25 years. If we are going to see some spray, particularly after the field when it's going to select 30 for these guys to try and get a clear track as soon as possible.
Yeah, Fabio Quartararo would not have known how perhaps significant pole position was yesterday. He was really good in crucial in dry conditions, where it might be absolutely vital now with, as Lewis said, the potential for spray hitting the riders that are in the chasing pack. An excellent weekend so far then for this young man, Fabio Di Giannantonio. Very, very limited experience about the Ducati in rain conditions. This is going to be a tough test of the mettle for these MotoGP riders. 5 minutes then to the race start here in Mandalika, and finally we can say there's going to be MotoGP race action in Indonesia. Our first visit to Southeast Asia since 2019.
One rider perhaps to identify that we haven't mentioned yet, who will certainly fancy his chances in these conditions. Starts all the way back in 18th on the grid. The brother of this man, Marc Marquez, if you're just joining us, will not start this Grand Prix due to a concussion sustained in the warm-up earlier on today, as some drizzle starts to fall, as Simon Crafar lets us know from pit lane. But Alex Marquez, his brother, of course, took a sensational podium, his first podium in MotoGP in very wet conditions at Le Mans, and very nearly won that Grand Prix as he was chasing down Danilo Petrucci. He'll certainly be a rider who will have a big result in his hands, potentially today. Certainly a bigger result than he thought when he qualified 18th yesterday.
Let's just hope then that rain that's just starting to fall a little bit heavier again as the team personnel are told to clear the grid, that it doesn't start falling as ferocious as what it did about an hour ago, which caused this lengthy delay here for the MotoGP return to Indonesia for the first time since 1997. Understandably, some really tense, anxious-looking faces down there on the grid. Somebody give Aleix Espargaro a glass of water. He looked like he got a real dry mouth. So here it is then, finally, we're about to get underway in MotoGP here in Indonesia. Two Pramac Ducatis on the front row of the grid. Johan Zarco in third place. Jorge Martin starts from second place. But it's the reigning world champion Fabio Quartararo who starts from top position in that first Indonesian Grand Prix in 25 long years. Don't go anywhere, folks. 20 laps of pure drama and theatre coming your way in MotoGP. Up next.
Who will be the rainmaster of Mandalika here in MotoGP? Fabio Quartararo, the reigning world champion, starts from pole position ahead of the Pramac Ducatis of Jorge Martin and Johan Zarco. Brad Binder heads the KTM Challenge from the front of the second row ahead of the reigning world championship leader, Enea Bastianini. Keep an eye out for the rookies. They're led by Fabio Di Giannantonio. He starts in the middle of row 4 with Marco Bezzecchi just behind him. Paul Espargaro on the fifth row. He is the sole Repsol Honda challenger in this Grand Prix due to the injury sustained by Marc Marquez earlier this morning. In wet conditions, with drizzle starting to fall once again, these are challenging conditions for the best riders in the world. Let's go racing in MotoGP.
So we've been waiting 72 minutes since we thought this Indonesian Grand Prix would be getting underway, and finally, as the rain just starts to fall, the warm-up lap then does.
Play
belly. See both sides. You can see the temper, the arguments he has. Slowing down now.
Gak jelas dinya. Gak kebur.
Cuaca sekarang 25 derajat.
Ya, dia baru hilang dari ratu.
Agak sedikit segar ya.
Mana kayaknya. Malay dah ngelek payah nonton lah. Benda-benda bertori be. Kita lawan dandangan MJ lah, dandangan MJ lah. Internet betul koi.
Ini dia saat yang kita sudah tunggu-tunggu. MotoGP Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Selamat menyaksikan.
Ngelek. Alah ngelek, oi. Dia lagi pada deh. Itu memang internet. Pak, itu. Kau tu ringan ni. Lucu. Kau lagi.
To take the spoils in Mandalika and get his World Championship challenge on and running as he defends the crown that he won last year. But just to
kabur.
I mentioned a moment ago in the Moto 3 pre-practice 3 session yesterday, we saw a number of riders really losing control on the curve, so they were looking to stay off those when
Dia nama cek apa coy? Sama tu.
first winners of brand new circuits then. Andrea Inone took first win on MotoGP return to Austria in 2016. Five new circuits on the calendar have been won first time by Marc Marquez.
Oh, man. Yep.
Of course, he won't be doing that today.
No.
And of course, when we returned to Portugal for the first ever Grand Prix in MotoGP. Conditions. Who will be the first man to race the Mandalika in MotoGP? We're about to find out.
It's time then for MotoGP to rock in Lombard. This is a special moment. The Indonesian fans have been waiting a quarter of a century for. Fabio Quartararo about to start round 2 in 2022 from pole position. On the front row, the Pramac Ducatis of Jorge Martin and Johan Zarco. 8,940 days since the last Indonesian Grand Prix centre back in 1997. Late than we expected, but better late than never. The green flag waves the back of the grid. We're about to get underway here. Grand Prix of Indonesia. Delayed on the lights, the red light comes on, and we are underway here. Underway in Indonesia. Big wheel for right there for Jorge Martin in second place. Another great check, Patrick Etienne, Quartararo, the top man in Oliveira up into third.
Look at this rinse, straight around the outside. He's round wide into turn one. He's got Jorge Martin, so he brings got a third row of the grid. He's now been eased wise by Jorge Martin, but Quartararo, just as he hoped for, he's got the whole shot. He's got the clear track.
We saw a sensational start for Brad Binder, trying starting race in Qatar. Brilliant launch there from the third row by Miguel Oliveira. He started seventh and immediately slots himself into second place behind Fabio Quartararo. Perfect start for the world champion.
Jack Miller's come through to third place. He's a rider that we expected to keep an eye on these places. His teammate, Pecco Bagnaia, had a terrible start. He's now 6 places down into 12. Look at Juan Pina. He started down in the 18th position. He's already cut half of the deficit. He's up into the top 10, but already got the inside of Brad Binder for 8th position.
Yeah, really aggressive as he been already, as he had to be. Trying to be Alex Marquez, I think in the back of the next, putting his hand up. I think he might have made a bit of a hard move on somebody. He just held the attempt. They splashed their way through then. Quartararo, just where he wanted to be. Coming under early pressure here. Attacking hard is the Portuguese man Miguel Oliveira. The advantage just under 3/10 of a second. You can see there the spray being kicked up by Quartararo. As if you're mid-pack now, it's going to be difficult to dig your way through vision-wise in this sector.
Quartararo leads this Grand Prix. Franco Morbidelli's moved through from 14th on the grid up to 6th now. He's just gone past Jorge Martin. Andrea Dovizioso's also gone well as well. Oliveira powers his way on the final floor. And he's past Fabio Quartararo.
Oh, look at the straight track. He's further back down the field. I don't know whether Quartararo made a mistake there coming up the final corner. He's been picked up as well now. Briefly by Jack Miller into turn one. He just lost all of his extra speed.
On
Mak DP benar tak? Boleh lah.
Dropped all the way back to 20th. He's just
Tapi nak ada kalau. Lagi dah lalat
is the leading rookie at the moment in 16th, but they're taking it understandably cautiously in these very early stages. But Oliveira away from Jack Miller on the move in second place. We've got 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 of the world, with Alex Rins just out of picture. There he is in the back of the screens, up in 4th, just ahead of John.
That's brilliant by the Ducati car. We thought he was going to be a big contender in these rain conditions. These are conditions that
Follow.
struggling for pace. He went a little bit wide there. Then he coming through turn number 11. He's going to get swallowed up by Fabio Quartararo. As good of a start it's been for Oliveira's KTM, it's been a bad start for Brad Binder. He's dropped outside the top 10 from that promising 4th place.
The championship leader, Alain Bastianini, he's all the way down in 15th spot, so he's not enjoying these conditions at this very early stage. Maybe going to build into it as the race goes on, but the championship leader is in big trouble. At this very early stage, Oliveira has a little bit of a look at Jack Miller. Quartararo's hanging on to him. It looked like he might slip backwards when he lost it at the start of this lap, but now with some preferences, Quartararo are able to go with the leaders.
Amazing performance by these guys, but you think that they've had no proper wet weather experience. Jack Miller's just at the fastest lap of the race, 1:41.964. That's just about 10 seconds away from their best speed in qualifying conditions on soft, slick tyres yesterday. Amazing lap times, amazing confidence. This is why these guys are the very best in the world. To be setting these lap times with their experience in these conditions around this Mandalika track, incredible.
I think Quartararo made a little bit of a mistake through turn 1. We just saw it wide in the back of the shot. He's now coming under a bit of pressure from Alex Rins. There is Quartararo's teammate Franco Morbidelli, who's made big progress in these early stages. A little bit surprised that the Ducatis aren't quite as competitive as we thought in these early stages. Jorge Martin down in 8th position for Pecco Bagnaia is starting to make progress back to the
Second fast than anybody else. Alex Rins comes a long way back. That's going to be so easy there to lock the front and wash out the front end. That's also skipped that the world champion Fabio Quartararo as well. Now then, Rins is going to find a way through on Quartararo. Pretty quickly here because they can see the top 2 men, Miller and Oliveira, much faster and starting to check out at the front.
Yeah, it's a real danger. Of course, a short race, 20-mile race. So these riders to get up the road. All over the back. Fabio Quartararo, who's lost the one ground. He's 1.5 seconds back now on the leaders, but he's managed to cover his line pretty well into turn 16. Rins still holds the line, still stays in pole position. Zarco and just up behind them. Now we come back to Jorge Martin. He's in 8th position at the moment, just on the back of his lead.
I've just showed you there how one line it is, particularly in these rain conditions for Alex Rins and Zarco. Couldn't get through. Quartararo's getting swallowed up though. Rins and Zarco took him off out of that final corner on the brakes in the first corner. Quartararo's going the wrong way here. He made a great start. It is all unravelling pretty quickly here for the world champion. Alex Rins now doing impossible. 2 flying French corners. Now this battle, as it rages on, is just giving Miller and Oliveira the chance to break away. You can see the top 2. They're already going through turn 5.
It is what happened to Fabio Quartararo. I said earlier on, don't touch the curbs. Fabio Quartararo on the curb, he just lost it all his momentum.
I think that's what happened as well. He's out wide on those curves, super slick, super greasy, no grip whatsoever, and that allowed Oliveira to get through initially. Jack Miller then with the hammer down at 1:41.161. Oliveira to keep tabs with this early pace by the Australian. Oliveira on that last lap was also a 1:41.1. Joe and Zarco also to be wrapped up 0.5 second away from the top 2. But let's see what Rins now and Zarco can do now they've got through on the world champ Quartararo.
This is the feedback from the race leader, Jack Miller, who we've so often seen excel in these kind of conditions. Miguel Oliveira, we've perhaps seen less of that over the years, but he's certainly proving that he's the match. Jack Miller, he's going to have a little run back down. No, he stays where he is for the moment. While these two are pulling away from the gap behind them, the likes of Alex Rins and Joe and Zarco, I think Miguel Oliveira will be quite comfortable to sit there in second place. As long as he can still see the road ahead of him, he'll be quite happy just to sit there. He feels he's got a chance later on in this Grand Prix.
So it's the Aussie Jack Miller, always super strong in these tricky rain conditions, that still have the advantage. He fires in another 1:41.2, just a tenth quicker than Oliveira in second place. Alex Rins has dropped his Jorge Martin back in 8th. Now And what's happened to the number 89? Is he on the curbs as well?
Hai.
On the white line. Slippery like, look at this. He's on the curb, on the white line. How he stayed on board that? That hit sideways, big time. Jorge Martin, that was hard to the mouth for the Spanish rider. He stays sunny side up, thankfully, and still holding 8th place.
The World Championship leader is sinking without trace, and Leo Bastianini is down in 20th position at the moment. He's lapping in the low 44s. He's 3 seconds a lap slower than this duo on the front.
There's only Taka Nakagami actually on track with us, that's slower than Bastianini. No, Bastianini hasn't got a lot of wet weather experience. Taka Nakagami's having an absolute horror show out there. Likewise, Maverick Vinales, who's marooned down in now in the advantage of the Portuguese man, Miguel Oliveira snaps off the inside of Jack Miller coming into turn 12.
Yeah, he looked like he'd been shaping to do that for a couple of laps now. Oliveira looks visibly faster than Jack Miller. He looked like he had a bit more pace behind him. Now Jack Miller's got a record to there. Will Miller be able to go with the KTM up front? They're still continuing to break away from the field behind them. Only really Alex Rins and Joan Zarco have any kind of continues to lap the second lap slot.
Yang halangan kameranya menjadi lambat.
Start lap 6, there was only 4 in the 141s. It's going to feel like a long 15 laps as Oliveira starts to try and make a crucial break here. Last lap of the Grand Prix of 140, 804, already asking some major questions here. And Miller in 2nd place. Alex Rins in 3rd. We've seen him in these podium places before. Radel, Shine, that's Taka Bagnaia. Going through and going off the circuit right now. He's almost in downtown Lombok, is Taka Bagnaia. It hasn't worked out for him at all. He was only just able to break the 141s. Oh! How on earth did he save that? That was even better than the Martin save.
Yeah, the fact that he went out into the runoff, that was a save. He didn't go all the way out to the car side there.
Unbelievable. I've no idea. That front 10 was digging a trench into the surface. That was incredible. What a save by Pecco Bagnaia.
He's rejoined in 12th place. He's just behind Brad Binder, who's starting to make gentle progress in the KTM. He and Luca are both chasing down Paul Espargaro, who did make some good progress. He's just dropped behind Buccarini and Binder. He made good progress on his own. Started 15, he got himself up to the top 8. Fortunately now for the Repsol Honda man. The sole Repsol Honda man in the race started to slip back down the field.
Just shows how treacherous these conditions are. One small mistake. Martin out on the curbs, lighting up his rear tyre, nearly flunked to the moon coming out the final corner. Then Pecco Bagnaia, he wasn't obviously doing anything too crazy, riding within himself, riding to his limit. And the front tyre just looking up underneath him. I'm still not sure. I'm sure he's got no idea as well how he stayed on top of that factory Ducati. He's still in the Grand Prix. There's Paulo Oliveira, Miguel Oliveira's father, of course, a constant sidekick for the Portuguese man, who again finds another fastest lap of the Grand Prix on 140, 148. At this stage, Jack Miller's got nothing for him. Miller's into the 140s as well, but he's 6 tenths of a second slower on that last lap.
On screen, he looks like he's stabilised a little bit with his pace. He's running pretty comfortably now in 5th position. He's matching the lap times of Joan Mir and Jorge Martin behind him. Here is Luca Marini then, who's in 9th position. Of course, he has to come in the 5th row of the grid, and he's making pretty good progress in 9th position. Brad Binder just behind him, who, given the fact that a lot of the key contenders in Qatar are struggling, Brad Binder's actually the provisional championship leader. He'll be a point ahead of Leo Bastianini. Miguel Oliveira and Alex Rins must still have a long way to go in this race as Paul Espargaro looks to chase down the South African.
Yeah, Leo Bastianini's found some confidence. He's got himself into the 142s, but in 6 laps, the world champion leader was 19 seconds. That's how difficult it was for Bastianini to trust himself pushing on that Ducati GP21. There is Pecco Bagnaia, who's probably just still relieved to be part of this Indonesian Grand Prix. Simon, down to you.
Yeah, guys, I think that Martin's up on the curves was because of the spray. You know, it's horrible. You end up on there by the time you know it's too late. But the good news is the rain stopped, and over the next laps you'll see the spray visibility get better.
Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. There's a problem there for Andrea Dovizioso, normally one of the strongest wet weather riders in this MotoGP field, and he's sort of shaking the head, the frustrated, forlorn look on Dobby's face. That doesn't look like he's made a mistake in class. It looks like that. Yamaha has got kaput on him. So a couple of technical problems this weekend, and Fabio Quartararo, haven't we? When Nakashina's been working underneath Quartararo, he's brilliant on the drive, fastest on Friday. Of course, qualified on pole position. These rain conditions, though, have really hit. Unfortunately, it's back-to-back DNF to kick off 2022 for the Spanish rider. That's in the braking zone for turn 1 as well. We saw Paco back there 2 or 3 laps ago. That is a very second-hand GP 2022. Just on that wet patch, Frank Campbell then in a front row seat for that. He was just braking, squeezing that front lever, and on that little river that was running across the circuit, nothing he could do. He was almost straight line braking there, up and down. Jorge Martin down. Thankfully, he's okay. Massive repair job on that Cameron Ducati. So we've lost Martin from 7th.
Oliveira continues to chip away. He's still acting in the low 140s. Jack Miller's starting to match him on pace, so he's just keeping the Portuguese rider in check. They're all setting personal best laps in that leading group. In fact, the fastest man of the leading group on that last lap was the world champion, Fabio Quartararo, 140.184, putting some of those fears about his record riding to bed. He's keeping Joan Zarco well and truly inside.
Well, be careful there, Zarco. He was in hot there and off the line into turn 13 as he tries to keep on par. Those guys not going there intentionally. It's just where they're finding themselves with the display and the visibility. That was huge.
Kenapa?
He's going wide. Lottery ticket time because that was so close.
Kenapa dah?
Still circulating in this Mandalika Grand Prix. Nobody's doing a better job right now than Oliveira. He's now on this lap alone in 3 sectors, taking 7/10 after Jack Miller, stretching away here. 2 seconds the gap. Oliveira comes to the final sector.
You are an FT. Also, but a shout out to his teammate Darren Binder, who's doing a superb job. He's up into 13th position now. Well and truly in the points, the South African. He's not, of course, got much weather experience at all, but on the last lap around, he was faster than everyone ahead of him, all the way up to 12 here in 6th position. So keep an eye out for Darren Binder, chasing his way through the field. Bastianini's also starting to regroup. He's now back up into the points.
Well, after all the drama, Marc Marquez missing his Grand Prix after his 4th clash this morning in the World, but the last thing Repsol Honda needed was another man on the deck. That's so close to what happened to Thomas Spargo. Now then, Oliveira now up to a fastest lap of 1:39.557. Again, he was about 7/10 quicker than Jack Miller directly behind him. Miller just slowly being wheeled in here as well by Alex Rins. Rins was half a second faster than the Aussie on that last lap. The fans gathered all around the world, the virtual fan ball. Hope you enjoyed this one, folks. We waited 25 years for one of these Grand Prix. Delivered so far, hasn't it? Great drama, great entertainment, and we've still got 11 laps to go. Not even a half race distance, the short 20-lap Mandalika battle. Still being dominated at the moment by this man, Miguel Oliveira.
Jack Miller started to come with a little bit of pressure now. Alex Rins has also got John Zarco. That was very close behind him. Zarco running wide. As you say, turn 11, so that might have let Alex Rins off the hook a little bit. He still sits in 3rd position. Here is your World Championship leader there, Nea Bastianini, who was near enough last early on in the race, but he's now starting to lap in the low 141s as he gently makes his way through the field. He's got 5.7 seconds though up to Alex Marquez up ahead of him, so he may be relying on some misfortune up ahead to claim the extra points.
He was half a second for Paul Marquez on that previous lap, so he's got time to recover that gap. Zarco's going to be patient here. There's a couple of times as he's got close to within strike conditions of Alex Rins. He's just made a mistake and maybe some... Visibility problem. He's got a little bit more to his credit though. Despite that mistake on the turn 11 on that last lap, he did find a 1:39.200. That means the Frenchman is now the fastest man on this Mandalika circuit. He's 4/10 quicker than your race leader Oliveira.
It's going well, isn't he? Looking further down there, we've got a big battle for 8th position led by Lucu. He's got Brad Binder just behind him. Really.
Buat. Bagi. Kau pelambat nama. Pedang-pedang ah. Oh, telah datang. Bubuk dia.
Great for the last 2 laps or so. He's actually got top. Great pace, but it's just far too late.
This is a matter of time, I think, for Sean Zarco. Look at the gap already. He's under half a second now to the back of Jamil. Zarco really gaining confidence in this Grand Prix. Oliveira comes out of the final corner. Of course, no visibility problems for him, so he's able to stay well and truly off the cones and keep himself nicely in line.